Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'll tell you something folks, whenever I think things in Port Charles have finally settled down, this show finds a way to pull me right back into the chaos. Looking ahead to the week of June 22 through June 26, I can already feel the tension building. What caught my attention most isn't just the drama itself, it's the growing desire for revenge that seems to be spreading through town. From where I'm sitting, revenge has always been one of the most dangerous forces on General Hospital because once someone decides to settle a score, there's no telling who will get hurt along the way. And if these latest spoilers are any indication, several familiar faces are about to find themselves caught in a battle that could change everything. First, I have to admit, the situation involving Lulu and Dante is the one that immediately grabbed my attention. As a parent, I can only imagine the panic and determination they must be feeling if they receive a credible lead on Rocco's whereabouts. When someone like Cassius suddenly steps forward with information, I always find myself wondering what the real motive is. Around Port Charles, information rarely comes without a price tag attached. Still, if there is even the slightest chance that Rocco can be found, I don't see Lulu or Dante waiting for anyone else to take action. They strike me as the kind of parents who would move heaven and earth to bring their son home safely. What makes this storyline even more interesting to me is Britt's involvement. Every time Britt finds herself at the center of a mystery, complications seem to follow. That's why I have a feeling this search won't be as simple as following a trail and bringing Rocco back. There may be secrets, misunderstandings, or even dangers waiting for Lulu and Dante once they get closer to the truth. As the old saying goes, the closer you get to the fire, the hotter it gets. And that certainly feels true here. Meanwhile, I can't stop thinking about the pressure building around Carly. If Ross Cullum is cornering her in her own home with accusations that Valentine is hiding there, then things are about to get extremely uncomfortable. I've watched Carly face plenty of enemies over the years, but situations like this can be especially dangerous because they leave very little room to maneuver. Sometimes a direct accusation can do more damage than an actual crime, especially when the wrong people start asking questions. What really caught my eye, though, is Brennan's reaction. No matter how complicated their history has become, I still see signs that Carly matters to him more than he would probably like to admit. Hearing troubling news about her could easily become the spark that pushes him forward when he should be focusing on his own recovery. I've seen this kind of thing happen many times in life. A person can ignore their own struggles, but the moment someone they care about is in danger, they suddenly find strength they didn't know they had. That is why I believe Brennan's concern for Carly could become one of the most important developments in the coming days. His feelings may be buried beneath disappointment, frustration, and unresolved issues, but emotions like that do not disappear overnight. If Carly finds herself trapped by Cullum's investigation, Brennan may discover that staying on the sidelines is no longer an option. And, in Port Charles, whenever someone decides they have nothing left to lose, that's usually when the real trouble begins. Second, I have to say, the more I watch this situation unfold, the more I feel that Willow is standing on the edge of a cliff without even realizing how close she is to falling. Right now, she's spending so much energy worrying about her future with Drew that she may not see the real danger coming from another direction. In my experience, that's often when trouble strikes the hardest. When you're focused on one problem, another one sneaks up behind you and changes everything. What really caught my attention is Brooklyn's determination to bring Willow down. This isn't just a simple disagreement or a family feud anymore. From where I'm sitting, this looks like a carefully planned operation designed to destroy Willow's reputation piece by piece. The moment I heard that Brooklyn was working with Brick to create GPS evidence linking Willow's black SUV to Jordan's hit-and-run accident, I immediately started wondering how far this revenge plot could go. The scary part is that evidence has a way of speaking louder than the truth, at least in the beginning. People see documents, locations, and timestamps, and they assume the case is closed. That's what makes this plan so dangerous. If Brooklyn succeeds in placing Willow at the scene, Willow could suddenly find herself fighting not only public suspicion, but also legal consequences. I've seen plenty of storylines over the years where a person's life was turned upside down because of something that looked convincing on paper. And let's be honest, Brooklyn seems ready to enjoy every second of it. That's the part that stands out to me the most. She isn't simply trying to win an argument or prove a point. It feels like she wants to sit back and watch the entire fallout unfold. Those kinds of revenge schemes rarely stay under control. Once someone starts pulling strings behind the scenes, they often end up creating consequences that hurt far more people than they originally intended. The person I'm especially curious about is Chase. If evidence begins pointing directly at Willow, he could find himself trapped in an impossible position. On one side, there is the law, and whatever facts appear to be in front of him. On the other side, there is his personal knowledge of Willow's character and the possibility that something doesn't add up. I have a feeling his reaction could end up being just as important as the accusations themselves. Meanwhile, another storm appears to be gathering elsewhere in Port Charles. Whenever Jen Sidwell starts setting traps, I get the feeling that nobody is truly safe. This man doesn't seem interested in settling scores quietly. He wants people to suffer, and that's what makes him so dangerous. The possibility that Sonny, Laura, Lucas, and others could become targets tells me that this revenge story may spread much further than anyone expects. What makes all of this especially unsettling is the uncertainty. We know a trap is being prepared, but we don't yet know exactly who will walk into it first. That's the kind of suspense that keeps me coming back every week. One wrong move, one bad decision, or one carefully planted piece of evidence could change multiple lives before anyone realizes what's happening. And if there's one thing I've learned from watching Port Charles over the years, it's that revenge never stays confined to its original target. It always creates collateral damage, and I suspect we're about to see plenty of that in the days ahead. Finally, I find myself paying a lot of attention to Trina these days because she seems to be standing at one of those important crossroads that can shape a person's future. From what I'm seeing, she's trying to focus on her upcoming exhibition and all the preparation that comes with it. But life has a funny way of testing people when they are closest to achieving something meaningful. Just when everything appears to be falling into place, family complications often arrive to shake things up. That's why I can't help wondering whether Trina will be able to keep her attention on her big moment if problems begin piling up at home. If Portia's situation suddenly becomes more urgent, especially if labor begins unexpectedly, I could easily see Trina struggling to balance her responsibilities and emotions. Anyone who has ever had an important event interrupted by a family crisis knows exactly how difficult that can be. One minute you're thinking about your future, and the next you're rushing to support the people you love. What I admire about Trina is that she usually tries to handle challenges with maturity, but even the strongest people have limits. A major exhibition is already stressful enough without worrying about what might be happening behind the scenes with your family. In my opinion, the real question isn't whether Trina can succeed. It's whether she can enjoy the success if her mind is pulled in a dozen different directions at the same time. Then there's Anna's return, and I have to admit that's one development I've been looking forward to. Anna has always been the kind of character who brings energy and purpose to every storyline she touches. After everything she's been through, it sounds like she's finally getting closer to putting some of her troubles behind her. Thanks to the legal assistance she received, all she really needs now is to prove she's healthy enough to leave the hospital and reclaim her life. Still, I don't think Anna's biggest challenge is physical recovery. From where I sit, the more important battle is recognizing just how much manipulation has been happening around her. Cullum has been playing games, and Caesar has never been known for honesty. Sometimes the most dangerous traps aren't the ones that involve weapons or violence. They're the ones that convince good people to question their own judgment. Anna is smart, but even smart people can be deceived when enough pressure is applied. And then we come to Valentine, which opens the door to even more possibilities. I keep asking myself whether he can really stay away from Anna if circumstances give him an opportunity to reach out. The idea that he could somehow divert his journey, make a stop in France, and find a way to contact her feels exactly like the kind of twist this show loves to deliver. Feelings like theirs don't simply disappear because distance gets in the way. If that happens, it could set off an entirely new chain of events. Old emotions, unfinished business, and long-buried secrets have a way of resurfacing when these two characters find themselves connected again. That's why I believe the coming episodes could become far more exciting than many viewers expect. Several storylines are approaching critical turning points at the same time, and when that happens in Port Charles, you can usually count on surprises waiting just around the corner.